Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. How are we all today?
Doing well, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So we should be live now, guys. As far as I can see, I'll just double check one of the platforms. Yeah, we're live. So, all right. So today we have myself, we have Frank, we have Corey, and we've Ricardo. And we have someone else there. I'm not too sure who it is. Okay, so right, we'll start. Bear with me a second. So I'm going to I'm going to get everyone to say a bit about themselves. Frank, do you want to start off?
Um, how you doing? Frank Falvey here. MCT Azure Solutions Expert certifications, and yeah, a few other ones along the way. But I'm just going to do a quick overview there on the Azure fundamentals. Um, Obviously we only have a few minutes to talk here on the thing, but going forward, um, I'm going to do the AZ900. I'm going to kind of chop it up into kind of 10-minute slots. So like if we have a 10-minute thing every week, I'm going to do another topic. So if you just go on to the next slide there, Matt, um, and I'll just talk about like the fundamentals is the first um, step in the Azure kind of certification. Um, can help to jumpstart your career and prepare you to deep dive into more technical stuff to do with Azure. So, like the certification basically kind of validates your knowledge of cloud services and help candidates to demonstrate the fundamental knowledge of cloud computing along with Azure services, workload, security, privacy, pricing, all that kind of stuff. So on this slide here now, I'm not going to drill down into the whole lot of it now, but as you can see there, like the exam is kind of cut up into different parts, and you need 1,000 points if you do the exam. So you need to get 700 out of that 1,000, even though you can see here it's kind of saying 20% and 25%, the points are not actually kind of carved up that way at all. It's kind of weighted. I don't know why Microsoft does it that way. Like when they say you get 700 points or 700%, but it doesn't work that way anyway because some of the questions are weighted higher than the other. So, like as you can see there, the first one described the cloud concept there. Um, that's kind of more giving you all the kind of high availability stuff, elasticity, disaster recovery, um, all that kind of stuff is inside there. The other thing that is a big thing is the capex to opex thing, capital expenditure to operational expenditure, consumption model. So all that's in the first section of it there. So I'm going to kind of chop that down into kind of sections. Maybe 1 week I might just talk about, 10 minutes, describe the consumption based model, pay for what you use, that sort of thing. And then another week, then I'll pick another topic. So when you go down into the other one, there is describe core Azure services. They're like all your kind of resource groups, subscriptions, Azure Resource Manager, and regions and things like that. So that will be kind of broke down into 6 different sections, that part there. So you can see like 10 to 25%. If you know that, you've got a good chunk. And the next one there, like 15, 20%. Two of them, you're kind of halfway there. So on the one below that, then describe core solutions and management tools. another 10 or 15% in there. That section then is all about kind of Internet of Things, machine learning, serviceless computing, and kind of DevOps sort of stuff. HD insights. So that's what that section is about there. And the next one under that then is describe identity, governance, privacy. All that section then is kind of the Active Directory stuff, you know, about single sign-on, um, multi-factor authentication. So role-based stuff, you know, Azure policies, all that kind of stuff is kind of thrown into that section. So like when I'm going doing this, I'm going to kind of carve it up into, we say maybe just do 10 minutes on Azure policy one week, maybe do role-based access, then, you know, kind of 10 minutes on that, kind of break it down into all different sections. And the next one then underneath there, 10 or 15% for describe Azure cost management and service level agreements, like all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff inside in that as well, like pricing calculator, total cost of ownership, um, Azure costs management, you know, good bit of stuff inside there, like um, service level agreements, availability zones. Um, so yeah, good bit there. So Matt, I'll hand it back to you
Perfect.
there. So and
Perfect. That's
yeah,
brilliant. So yeah, as Frank was saying, there is a huge amount in Azure, and I mean this is just the tip of the tongue with it. Really, Azure is kind of, there's a saying that goes around in the IT community that it is an inch deep and a mile wide, and I think we can all agree that that's true. Really, what is your there's so much in it. So to call it, both myself and Frank are hosting the event today. Azure Journey to the Cloud 2.0. Today's session is kind of all about introducing a few new people as well, getting people familiar with what Journey to the Cloud is, kind of giving a few tips and tricks. We won't go into very detailed descriptions of a lot of things today. It'll be more kind of an introduction and a round table talk about things. What you call it? As Frank said, they are the skills measured in the Azure exam, and he himself and myself will be doing live streams just on Azure down over the next few weeks. We'll be doing demos and stuff. We'll go through it for people that want to learn the fundamentals, and anyone else that wants to join us will definitely join us and give their insights. Now, I want to start off by introducing Ricardo to the session. Ricardo, do you want to say a few bits about yourself and introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Matt. So I'm Ricardo Joia. I'm Microsoft MVP for developer technologies, and I'm usually found in the Cork.net and Azure meetup. And yeah, next week I'll be talking about some techniques or some of my um, history um, or my story that way on learning tools and some of the tips and tricks that I picked up as a self-taught developer. So next week on the 15th of April, I'll be sharing my story with you guys. Thanks for the opportunity, Matt.
Thanks a million, Ricardo, for that. I'm, I'm sure you minding kids and trying to do it all is fun, is fun. Okay, that's great. Ricardo's also an MVP, guys, so I'm absolutely delighted to have him here. Um, I want to introduce what you call it. Do we have, is Corey still here, or is
I
he?
am here. I am off camera right now, my friend, but I'll be back on in about 2 minutes.
Okay, all right, okay, that's no problem, Corey. So what I'll do is I will just give a quick overline about myself. So I'll just bear with me a sec, and we'll just share the screen. So from beginning. So bear with me. So my name is Matthew Brown. I'm a cybersecurity administrator for NTSE, which is a company based in Limerick, County Limerick in Ireland. We focus on a lot of VoIP phone systems, servers, computing, workstations, virtual desktop environments. We kind of do the A to Z in IT, basically everything. There's nothing we can't really support. Um, I I'd worked in IT for 4 years at another company in Killaloe for, I was doing IT support and cybersecurity there. I've since moved on to NTSE, and my job now is to kind of focus on Azure environments, cybersecurity, level 3 and 4 help desk, all that kind of stuff. So I've about over 10 years experience in IT. I am an MCT, I'm an MTA, I'm an MCP, and I'm an MCSE as well. I hold multiple CompTIA level certifications from ITF Plus ranging all the way up to CISA. I have spent the last few years focusing on the cybersecurity aspect of systems in IT in Ireland. I recently went over to the Cyber Expo in London, where I had roundtable talks with various companies on the likes of zero trust and implementing SOPs for companies in their IT environment. I do a lot in terms of training. I help people get trained in fundamentals of Azure certification, Office 365. I run a nonprofit which provides support to people to get certified. I was recently nominated for an MVP in the Azure category, which I'm super, super excited about. So hopefully that translates into a successful nomination. That I was nominated by Dan Ray, who is a 25-year MCT professional. He's worked in IT for over 25 years in the training side of it. I am genuinely very passionate about IT. There's nothing I don't like about it. From start to finish, I enjoy helping people with getting their skills up to date, taking a bit of that exam anxiety away from them and helping them see their real potential in what they can do for both their personal development and their professional development. So I'm kind of an all-rounder. I'm really approachable and I love helping people. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and my website, focusit.ie. That's www.focus-it.ie, or else check me out on LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter at Azure Guru Matt. So now that that is over and done with, I'm going to hand it over to Corey, who's going to tell us a bit about himself and talk to us about security.
Yeah,
Corey.
I mean, thanks for having me, Matt. I've been doing this about, my name is Corey Knapp. I've been doing this about 25 years. I am currently a principal cloud architect for a company called Trace3, based out of Irvine, California, but I am working out of my house here in North Carolina. Like I said, I've been doing this about 25 years now, and it's been IT is really a passion of mine. Half the reason I got into it is because it's what my father did going back in the Navy back in the day. But I've kind of I started doing government work and private sector work when I was probably 18, 19 years old. And then I ended up, took a break from that. About 5 years back, 4 years back, I started being a trainer for Linux Academy and A Cloud Guru. I became a Microsoft certified trainer. I taught a bunch of courses in PowerShell and Azure over there. And have since moved back into the private sector, just recently for Trace3, like I said, focusing almost 100% on Azure. I mean, I do a little bit of O365 stuff there, but my focus is primarily on security, networking. I am a huge fan of Zero Trust. I've got some ideas around some Zero Trust workshops we can do. And I also wanted to take the time here to kind of walk through the new SC series of certifications that Microsoft has, a security series. Part of what I also do on the side here is I also have my own YouTube channel called the Big Bald Azure Guy, which people kind of like the name of it, I guess. I mean, I'm a big bald and I do Azure, but one of the things that I'm very passionate about is training others and teaching others, not just technical skills, but also soft skills. I didn't have a mentor when I grew up in this field. I didn't have a college degree, and I ended up no, I got kids looking to walk by here. So as I was saying here, I mean, I want to be able to give back to the community what I didn't have, I mean, early in my career. So I just started a 3 to 6 month course for 12 students on my channel that we're meeting bi-weekly, going through all kinds of different things that we can take a look at. Actually, if you want, I actually have a couple slides here real quick for you, Matt, that I can bring up for you. And let me actually bring up my presentation here for you now that I've got a second. I apologize. I also have people talking in the background. It's been a crazy morning here between work and everything else, and it's actually uploading right now. It should take about 30 seconds or so to bring it up to you. But like I said, I want to talk about the SC 900, 200, 300, 400, and the new SC 100, which is currently in beta. And if we can see my screen here, I'll show it off to you. But
that is definitely a priority, Corey. I want to hear about that SC100 because there's no information available out there in terms of what to expect from it. Microsoft held that little gem in their vault for long enough. Their codes were out of sync. I thought it was strange that we had the 200, 300, 400, and 900. I knew
definitely odd.
But
I just uploaded it. You can actually share it to the stream now if you want. It should be in there as a source.
Okay, all right. Bear with me a sec now, and we'll get that up.
We'll have to actually make this for the Journey to the Cloud series, not just the Big Bald Azure guys, since I'm part of you guys now. But hey, just want to go through here. We'll start at the beginning, and you've got your SC 900, which is the Security Compliance Identity Fundamentals. It's like any typical fundamentals exam, the AZ 900, the AI 900. It's a non-technical exam focusing on concepts around security, compliance, identity, specifically Azure solutions. You've got different things in here like what Active Directory, what Azure AD is, describe different external identity types, guest users, what Windows Hello for Business is, what the capabilities of PIM are, Azure AD Identity Protection. You've got what the concept of a SIEM, or a SOAR, or an XDR is. In addition, you've got things like, what's Microsoft Sentinel? I mean, Sentinel is the premier Azure product, which is it's a SIEM, S-I-E-M. I mean, for those of you who don't know. It also talks about some of the Defender services for Microsoft 365, Office 365, cloud apps, and you've also got to worry about what's Intune. I mean, how are you doing endpoint security with device management, things like that. It's also talking about retention policies, retention labels, e-discovery, Azure blueprints, Azure policies. But like I said, it's all non-technical. It wants to give you a very good overview of what the security concepts are using Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. And it's a great introduction for those people who have, I would say, taken your AZ 900, maybe even your AZ 104, and want to start either offshooting or getting deeper into the security aspects of Azure. So that's the first one. The next one you'd look at taking would be, you're already one ahead of me, would be the SC200. That's all right, my friend. It's the Security Operations Analyst Associate. This is an associate certification from Microsoft. Really, this is the kind of guys you see working in security operations centers. These are the operations guys that analyze, detect, and mitigate threats using Microsoft 365 Defender, Defender for Cloud, and Microsoft Sentinel. And this is I'm actually taking this one very soon, guys. I've been studying for it like crazy. I've got a few certs to go through before I grab my SC100. That's what I'm going after next. But you've got to looking at responding to and remediating threats in Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, sign-in risk policies, Azure AD risks, identity protection, Microsoft Cloud Application Security, how to manage incidents across the Microsoft 365 Defender products, which is it covers the entire realm of things that is on Azure. Identifying data sources you can ingest into Defender. You've also got to know things like Kusto query language, which how to do secure orchestration, automation, and response in Sentinel. So how are you going to create Sentinel playbooks? How are you going to trigger those playbooks? And then how to use those across the Defender solutions. And then you've also got things like how are we going to use these workbooks to analyze and interpret the data out there? How do you configure any kind of advanced visualizations? How do you hunt for threats using Sentinel? Do you run hunting queries manually? How do you do advanced hunting? How do you do a data investigation? This is a really, really cool test. Everything I've been looking at, and it's pretty technical. I mean, the guys I've heard have taken it as it's a very tough exam, but it's not. You're not talking architect level, but you have to know all of the nitty gritty operations components of it for this exam. The next one here, and I'll click the switch there, Matt. Thanks, buddy. Would be the SC300, and this is your Identity and Access Administrator Associate. This is everything Azure AD. This one right here covers AD roles, custom domains, admin units, all your tenant-wide settings, identity providers. Are they social? Are they SAML or federated? Active Directory, Directory Connects, single sign-ons, password hash synchronizations, AD identity protection, enterprise apps for SSO, how to do access reviews, how to do privileged access. And then obviously all of the incorporated things in monitoring and maintaining Azure Active Directory, like log analytics, how to log in, how to monitor it using Azure Sentinel. It does not include Kusto query language. That's the one thing, if you guys are wondering about the 300, there is no KQL on this exam. Personally, I think the order to take these would probably be, I mean, my personal mindset, I was an on-prem Active Directory administrator for years, and I focused on Exchange. I'm going 300, 200. I almost think it's a better way. To me, it's just focusing strictly on AD. For those of you who took the AZ 500 in the past, really it's kind of an overlap, but it's a much deeper dive on those subjects because you focus on all these things we talked about, like Sentinel, like Defender, like single sign-on, identity protection, all in AZ 500, but they've broken it out now into deeper exams on each component, and that's where you come up with these. Second to last year, we have the SC400. This is all about information protection, and this is a really different one where you've got to worry about sensitive information types, trainable classifiers, how to manage sensitivity labels. We're talking about credit card information, label analytics, content marking, managing and governing using Azure Purview, which is really cool. We're talking about some of the data sources that are out there. O365 message encryption, data retention, data loss protection policies, which are huge in Office 365. I spent a couple of years doing that for Microsoft Exchange Online. And then also records management, file plan descriptors, in-place records management for Microsoft SharePoint, and then also disposition of records. So this one is really cool that this kind of translates to more of a technical / business app owner, even a CTO or a CISO type certification, but it has a lot of valid technical information in here that I would definitely recommend to anybody who's looking to get a really large umbrella over the Azure security field. Now, the new one that is the all the rage right now, and this I'm going to be tackling this one here shortly. This is the SC100. Like you said, Matt, I'm not sure why they went 2, 3, 4, 9, and then 1, but
do you know what happened there? Do you know what happened there, Corey? I'm convinced because of the recent DDoS attack Microsoft had a few months back. This one was held in a different. This exam was held in a vault that was to go out to nobody until they were ready to announce it. Like I think we had heard about all the other exams before they even came out. There was whispers online like, look, there was going to be about 5 or 6 exams, but I'd say most people didn't see the SC100 coming for a while. We didn't expect it, like, and
I mean,
because we presumed, right, we have 4 of them there, and we have there was four, wasn't there, Corey? There
Now
was
this is number 5. Yep.
and that's number five, yeah. So we had four of them, and one of them was a fundamentals, which was the C900. So the way they did the numbering would have thrown most people off. People would have just said, "Oh yeah, okay, there's going to be five
Yep.
exams, five or four exams." But like this is pretty much kind of the creme de la creme of
This
cybersecurity.
we've
Like,
been waiting for something
yeah,
like this for security,
yeah.
especially in Azure. But Microsoft is all this kind of to me reminds me of the old Microsoft Certified Master Certs
Mm,
that they discontinued. This is the cybersecurity architect. Imagine your 300 series, your Azure architect, your solutions architect exam. This is the cybersecurity one, and this is I don't know who's taking the beta yet. I think it comes out in I think it's Mondays when it's available.
so it actually came out, Corey. It's
Did
out
it really
on
come out? Okay, so it
yeah.
is out in beta now.
It came out on the 7th, which was
The
yesterday.
seventh, so
So
yesterday. Okay,
I have it booked, but I'm not going to take it for about, I'd say, 2 weeks
yeah,
because I want a bit of time to go through. I know more than you, Corey. We've both kind of worked on the security side, and not
yeah.
everything is as simple as just going taking a
No,
beta exam. You want to go in with giving it a good shot because
I want a
right
plan.
yeah, yeah, right now it's 80% off the exam price if you have the code. But if you don't have that code, that exam is going to cost you $200 no
Yeah,
matter
it's a
what
big one.
country you're in. So, you want to go in prepared to it. And that's what I would say to people preparing for the beta exam even. Don't don't go in unprepared because it will expert exams throw everything at you.
Yeah, I mean, just for a quick overview, we've got here. You're talking zero trust, which I mean that's my wheelhouse. I love zero trust, but you're talking everything from integration points, business goals, resiliency strategies, hybrid or multi-tenant strategies for traffic filtering and segmentation. You're looking at security ops strategies like SIEMs or SOARs, security workflows, technical threat intelligence, identity stores, PIM, risk compliance, governance, risk compliance. You haven't seen these in any of the previous exams before. You're talking about infrastructure compliance, implementation, data residency requirements, um, benchmarking using things like ISO or NIST, Defender for Cloud, secure scores. And then infrastructure alone, you've got things like ADDS, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS services, IoT workloads, all of the data stuff, including SQL, Synapse, Cosmos DB. The other tests only touched on this stuff. You're going to have to know the security infrastructure components of things in AI, in data, even I mean, I'm sure probably even machine learning you may even have to touch on here. And then after all of this stuff and containers and like AKS, ACRs, ACIs, Azure Container Images and registries, then you're looking at strategies for apps and APIs. There is an absolute ton of stuff on this. There is no official outline or learning path on Microsoft Learn for this. I'm assuming it'll probably be out here pretty quickly. You
Yeah.
can download the skills, the testing domains that they're doing this on. It's 30 to 35% zero trust. It's 20 to 25% of governance risk compliance, security infrastructure 2025, and data and apps 2025. This is a big one. And as part of what I'm doing on my YouTube channel, Big Bald Azure Guy, myself and a couple other folks are going to be journeying, journaling our journey to this certification over the next few weeks, probably even up to 2 months to schedule the exam because there's so much to cover. And it's kind of a crapshoot what to expect. I mean, it could be anything. But I'm really looking forward to this one. This to me is, like you said, kind of the creme de la creme for Azure security. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I can honestly say the cybersecurity world will be a better place with this exam in
Yeah.
it because I mean, I suppose okay, I was asked a question today by someone and I was asked one during the week as well. A lot of people came to me and was like, okay, look, I want to do exams and I don't know where to start and in terms of if you're doing fundamentals, start with fundamentals if
Yep.
where you can. But what I did what I did suggest was if you have a strong interest in cybersecurity, get doing your associate exams, and then once you have one or two of those in the bag, if you only want to do one or two, you don't have to do all of them. Um, then try the SC 100 Um, in saying that, the person that had the interest, they went off and picked the hardest one straight
Yeah.
off the bat, which is like hats off, good for
But
you.
and
Do
this
it.
one too, there's a prereq for this one as well. You have
Yeah,
to have
yeah,
one of the four, either
yeah.
AZ500, which I think is going to go by the way of the Dodo probably in about a year or two.
Mm,
And then you get the SC200, 300, and I think the MS500 is one that
yeah,
you could have taken. So you have to take one of the four. I
yeah.
would personally recommend taking the 200, 300, and 400, and then go sit this thing because
Yes,
they're only going to properly prepare you for this exam. It's
yeah.
the worst. The worst it can do is you takes you a little bit longer. But I would rather get neck deep in this stuff and show up to the 100 exam just semi prepared, let alone
Yes,
ready for it. And we'll know more over the next 1 to 3 months how either great or ridiculously hard this. And I'm guessing it's probably kind of a combination. Um, People are like, oh, well, the design exam for solutions architecture wasn't that bad. Well, because all of the hard work was in the now it's the 104. Even the 104 is no simple test to pass either because you have to be a jack of all trades on everything in Azure. Um, and like you said, you've also got different other certs out there we can talk about in a few weeks. You got the new hybrid certs. You've got the new Azure support, connectivity support technician certs. They're doing a great job with all this role-based stuff. But if you're a networking zero trust security guy, man, this is where this is going to set people apart very
this
quickly.
this is what we call in the IT world, to those watching, the difference between your person that has been working in IT for 10, 15 years and, says they know their stuff, but proving you know your stuff is another thing.
Yeah,
And it's not just with Microsoft exams. And I do want to put that out there, guys and girls, to everyone watching. A variety in IT is good.
yeah,
Every single one of us on this call, we've done CompTIA exams, we've done Microsoft, we've done ISC squared, we've done ISACA, we've done ITIL, Prince, that we've done a various amount of exams,
yeah,
and it's you 99% of the time, it's the difference between you getting that job and someone else getting it. It's
yep,
it's showing your commitment to certifying yourself for, like, look, it's not just about getting better salary. It's about showing that you know your stuff. You actually need to know this when you go to your workplace environment or your nonprofit, or your if you're helping people to get to learn this stuff. it it,
absolutely.
it separates you from the person that has been doing this, but they've nothing to show that they've been doing it. They only
Yeah,
have experience, and experience is good. But there's a famous saying in the IT world, and Pearson VUE say it the best. What you call it? Having experience without certification is no good. Having certification without experience is no good. You need both. It just shows you know your stuff. And
yep.
that's what it's all about. IT is about knowing your stuff, um,
And
putting
then
yourself out there, helping others, and getting better and better, and kind of getting involved in all the different communities, like myself, Frank, Corey, and Ricardo are all involved in. We're all involved in various communities, and that's what it's about. Would I be right, Corey?
oh yeah, I mean, just a quick add on to that. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say being a good, let alone IT, but a good cloud engineer, cloud architect, support technician, you name it. Technical skills are only 50% of what you need nowadays. You have to have those soft skills. You have to have an online presence. You have to have a good LinkedIn profile. You need a good GitHub profile. If you're learning, the best way to do that is start up a Medium blog and you blog what you've learned. If you had problems, even blog if you failed. And don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as an opportunity to learn. Go out there with the user groups, do some presentations. You have to work on public speaking. You have to be coherent in how you get across a point. Um, and that's kind of what I'm teaching the people on my channel. We're going through, like I said, a 3 to 6 month program about how to do all this stuff and develop yourself, not just as a technical resource, but as an advocate or an evangelist to do this stuff and really excel, and not just in cloud, not just in IT, but in your career itself. So, And that's I like what you guys are doing over here, man. Between Frank and Matt, Ricardo, I mean Dan, you guys have all been great. And I think I'm glad we all hooked up together, man, because we all see things, I think, the same way, that we want everybody to just get better. And
I think I think Corey, what stood to me over the last few months, I've really discovered it. Um, COVID has changed the world as we
big time.
know it, and most people 2 years ago, a lot of people were afraid they would lose their job, things would not work out,
Yep.
employment was getting slower and slower. I think what certification has done in our industry has really it's shown that we're resilient as an IT community in the world.
Yeah.
Microsoft is something that have they've really put the knowledge and skills and learning over the last 2 years for a lot of people. I mean, they made a huge commitment to retire the old MTA, MCSA, and MCSE certification. I mean, I suppose not only because it didn't work as well at the time as they had hoped, but they discovered that people were going into roles. It wasn't going to be a case of one IT person could do
Hmm.
everything. And that is the case. No IT person can do everything. It's all
Yeah.
roles. You're either you could be doing an Azure role, an Office 365 role, you could be setting up networks, security, virtual machines, hybrid, you name it. Um, but that's something that Microsoft really nailed on the head over the last 2 years. They got it
Yeah.
right, and they got it right for the better. And IT in general is thanks to that, and thanks to Microsoft for doing that. It's much better. It's a more accessible learning path to go down. Um, what I would also say is people like Dan Ray, Corey, Frank, Ricardo, what you call it, Alan Knan, what you call it, Sandeep Yadav, the guys at Tech Day Pakistan, all those individuals, Diego Costa, these are all people that have kind of influenced tech IT communities, both for the MCT side, the MVP, the MTAs, all these different things that people get involved in, the
Mm.
Azure community, the Q&A on Microsoft Learn. These are all people that we are all people that have influenced how IT has gone in the last few years. And cybersecurity, as Corey, I'm sure Corey will say it in a minute, but cybersecurity, guys, is something that ain't going away. It's going to
No.
be serious
Definitely
stuff
not.
over the next few years. And how you react to learning it and how you get involved in your communities, it depends on the kind of person you want to be in IT. And I believe every single person has something to add. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how small.
Look
And
at
I
the
think
way the
it's
world is
becoming.
today.
Sorry, Carl. I think it's
No,
becoming
no.
something like it's not like you have the security people anymore, and you have the IT people. It's everything becoming together as one. When you're developing something, you have to have security in, as a concern. You have to apply the least privilege principle, zero trust, all of that from beginning. You have to think about all of that. It's not just writing code and then making into production without having those concerns. I think this
Yeah.
is getting more and more as part of your day-to-day work. So it's definitely something important to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, now you're talking true DevSecOps, where you're looking at security from the left at the very beginning. And it's not just a technical shift, it's a full culture shift. People have to be trained how to do this stuff. So you've got to worry about security, a secure application code. You've got to worry about DevOps. You've got to worry about technical support. You've got to worry about monitoring, logging, and response. And look, I was saying, look at the way the world is today. Look at the current events that are going on right now across Europe, across Asia, parts of the United States, South America. Security. How many companies you see out there now that are, oh boy, we need security people here now. I mean, they trust me, guys. If you want to find, and that's what I'm trying to teach my guys in my class. You want a good paying job that is going to be high in demand for years to come. cloud engineer to start, cloud architect, and then either networking or security or DevOps, they will be clamoring for you. You want to get certified. You want to get the work experience. You want to put your name out there. You want to have it so that people know your name before you come looking for a job. Case in point, I left my last role in 36 hours. I had 3 verbal offers and a written offer 2 days later, and I took the position. You want to make sure that you have a approachable but professional attitude. You want to have a great presence about people. And I tell everybody, anybody who you watch their training content, if you like it, if you like their streams that they do, reach out to them on LinkedIn, find them on Facebook, friend their channel, friend their LinkedIn profile, whatever you can do. Those of us who really want to give back will respond and say, hey, welcome aboard. I want to help you guys out. If you guys have questions, we'll try and address them during the streams, things like that. We're here. We are a very niche community. I can't count the number of times over the past 3-4 years I have run into people that I used to work with 10, 15, 20 years ago. You will run into people again. You don't want to burn bridges. You want to keep it very professional. And you will have people who are more friend than colleague. But we all live in this little niche community, and I think we can all give back to one another. And that's kind of what I'm going for here. So
Yeah,
Very good.
I agree, Corey. IT is a world where it's small, even
yeah,
though
yeah.
it's global. Burning bridges is never a good idea, both professionally and personally
hmm
with companies and communities. It's just not something you do. It's not ethical. It's not moral. You try to. What I found is you try to keep the best side out,
Yeah.
even if that other person doesn't want to. Like, you will have arguments with people because IT
Sure.
is one of those roles where something's not working. It's always the IT person. But what you'll learn is that sometimes the customer or the client or the person that's dealing with the issue, sometimes they just need to be, you need to give them a bit of education. You
Yep.
need to give them a bit of understanding. You need to show them compassion and respect, because that's what us IT people are. We are trained to the best of our abilities, and others, everybody has a job that we all do a job. There's
Yep.
accountants, there's bankers, there's teachers, we all do a job. IT is one of the, actually, I think, lucky jobs where you're constantly learning. You're not sitting at your desk going, I know that. You're sitting at your desk going, how do I do that better? you know
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. And we're kind of in an age of information where people are willing to put in the work and the time to do all that. And I think Microsoft have nailed it. Role based is the way it's going to go. It doesn't mean you're going to be subjected to the fact that you're going to be staying on the one role. You can move between roles, but
Yep.
what if anyone that has done Microsoft stuff and exams and certification and learning, what you will find is that your role, your Azure solutions or your Azure associate exams or your fundamentals, they will carry over to wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
They're recognized in Ireland, they're recognized in the UK, they're recognized in the US, in Europe. The exam you do in Ireland is the same one you're going to do in
Yep.
the US. So it means, it's global recognition, and that's the benefit of being Microsoft certified. And that's the benefit of keeping your exams fresh in terms of your renewals, because there was a lot of, I suppose, a lot of white smoke around how do I renew things and what way does
Oh,
it
it's
work.
easy now. It's
So
so easy
easy.
now.
Corey, Frank, do you want to one of you want to explain how the renewals work, just
Frank,
so
go for it.
people know? Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I done two of them in December, the AZ 104, and it's very easy. Just log into the Microsoft Learn portal, and if your thing is synced with it there, it'll actually be in there and tell you how many days before your exam is due to be renewed. So it kind of gives you have a year from what, say you complete the AZ 104, and then you have a year and counts down to when your exam. So you can actually take it 3 months, 6 months ahead if you want, but you still get another 12 months. Isn't
Yeah.
that, Corey, that how it
Yeah.
goes?
I
Yeah,
mean, and the best thing is like, and it isn't like you used to have to, you used to be certified for 2 years and you had to pay every 2 years to recertify.
yeah, yeah,
No, the retake is free. You just go on Microsoft Learn, and really what they're
yeah.
quizzing you on is kind of what has been updated since you took the last cert. I mean, so it's great. I mean, they're making sure that you're skilling up constantly. They're making sure you're staying abreast of what the changes are, things like that. I think, like Matt, you said it best, man. All the cloud vendors have done a good job, but
Mm.
Microsoft has hit a home run, man. They
The
really have.
Yeah.
the renewal system, guys, I can honestly say, right? It's done fairly, right?
Yeah,
You pay for your first exam, you pass it, and then you just keep the learning up to date. And don't forget, some of this counts for your continual professional developments.
yeah,
So, you know, like some of these exams can be used because they're being renewed on a yearly basis. You can use these to renew your CompTAs, your IC squared, whatever you have, what you call it, and the fact that it's free makes it worthwhile. So you've invested in yourself as a person, or maybe your company has invested in you. Why let them
Can,
expire? You
can
know?
I say something
Yeah.
there, Matt? Do you remember I was telling you when I done the solutions architect that time that they had the labs in Corey? Do you remember that when they
yep.
had? Yeah, they had when I done it, they had 18 labs that you had to do as part of it.
Wow,
Yeah,
you had that many? Wow.
I had that many. So you're
And
looking
the
at,
last test and the last exam I took had 0 labs.
yeah, but I don't know why they took out the labs. I know it was hard, or no, like,
I heard it was right around COVID time. I have heard rumors that some of the labs are back.
yeah. You
Mm.
see, you know the way you hear these sites where you can go off and get all the questions and practice them,
Oh,
and
the
then you go away
brain
and do the
dumps.
thing.
Oh,
I hate
no,
brain dump sites. I
Yeah,
really
don't
do.
like it.
what the thing with the labs is like if you can't do those labs, like you're actually going into Pearson View, you sit down in front of a computer. The first time I done it, their computers couldn't even handle it. The thing crashed. I had to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle the cloud. But yeah, I had 18 labs. It was out of all the exams I done down through the years, the most stressful one. Like,
I do want to say something on that because both myself, all of us here can agree. Those sites should never be used to
Yeah.
just for anyone that's watching. Anyone using those sites, and I get plenty of emails from people telling me, you know, have you questions, have you this, and my answer
Oh,
is block and report, and
yep.
that's it. I don't have time for people using sites that are not Microsoft material, or they're not written by the guys in John Wiley and Sons, who are the likes of Mike Chappell and all those John Saville, you know, people who are experts in their field.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that just for anyone that would even consider that going that route, just stop. Don't.
You don't want to be in IT. Anybody can pass a test. Can you
You
do the job is the
can,
question.
yeah,
that's it.
can you actually do the work is the
That's why
question.
the labs,
Yeah.
if they throw in maybe one or two labs, but you don't know which one is coming
I
up,
I
so you're
know
going to,
I know in the SC series there were one or two labs. I know I got one or two. Obviously for NDA reasons you
Right.
can't say what you got. But I know I got one or two in the, I think it was the SC 400. I
Did you?
got
Okay.
I got what looked like a lab as far as I remember, because I did have to do a bit of work.
Yeah.
It took me about
I
15, 20
personally, I
minutes.
like the case studies they do. Those are fun. I
Yeah,
like those.
yeah,
oh,
case studies are long. But my tip for anyone that's struggling with case studies is to literally reread the question 3 times. In the
Yeah.
question, the answer will be in it. it'll literally tell you what they want. And you just go back and you review the information, and you'll find on one of the slide decks in the exam that, you know, oh yeah, that's what they're looking for. Ah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, yeah, that's what it
I
is.
mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I
I
So,
love
suppose
reading.
like if you're doing the exam and you come across those, and you know, if it's kind of time, you're kind of, you want more time, just go through and do all the stuff that you know,
yeah,
get it out of the way, and then come back and use the rest of the time
best best
on the
best
case study.
suggestion would be to do what Frank says, is that leave the leave some of the questions that you're able to go back to, mark them for review and go
Yep.
back to them. But be very careful. You remember, there Microsoft will post in your exam what questions you cannot return to.
Like
So
the case,
just,
like the
yeah,
case studies.
like the case studies. So if you're going in to take an exam and you've kind of, you've timed yourself on, questions and the books, and most people have those interactive, they have the interactive stuff on Microsoft Learn, and sometimes other sites. John Saville has some stuff up there that he does quizzes and everything, and his videos. But just time yourself doing some of the labs, even like give yourself 5-10 minutes to do a lab, see how you turn out, see how good it
Yep.
is or bad it is. Do all that, but be, as Corey said, be prepared for when you go in to do your case studies. You can't go back to them, so you literally, y- you know, make sure your timings are right. You
That's
shouldn't
like
need too much time for the quick answer questions. I call them the yes nos. That should come to you. That stuff
yeah.
you should
Yeah,
know going
yeah.
in
The
very
the
fast.
fundamentals ones are like that. Like I
Yeah,
passed my SC 900 fundamentals in 9.5 minutes. 40 questions, 9.5 minutes.
yeah, yeah,
I think I got one wrong.
yeah,
My AZ 104, I still remember. I think there was 160 minutes for the test. I think I took 155. I
yeah.
mean, literally, the technical test will make you think. And I have a bad habit too. One of the first courses I ever took in college was speed reading. Now it paid.
Yeah,
It paid off dividends.
paid off.
Like
Yeah,
I read 1,000 pages a week just for personal fun. I do, not counting technical manuals. But the other bad thing is when I'm reading stuff like this, I have to actually physically slow myself down
mm,
because the wording of the question itself will be what trips people up half the time
yeah, yeah,
That's
because
it.
you
Yeah,
might miss
yeah.
that one instead of that one word not, or you might miss the word federated, or you might miss, and if you miss that one word, the whole question's wrong.
Two,
yeah.
Yep, yeah,
not one
exactly.
or two.
Yeah, I mean,
I
out
think
of
there's
these
only
five,
one.
you need to pick three. I mean, and nice thing is with these multiple choice multiple answers, you can say one question, one answer you know is wrong,
Yeah.
one answer you know is right, and thankfully you do get partial credit on those
Mm,
questions, which is
yeah,
nice.
you do. Yeah.
And a 700 isn't bad. I mean, you do have to know your stuff to pass the test. But what I tell everybody is, I don't care if you get a 700 or you get 1,000, you
Yeah.
still pass the test, and that's
Yeah,
what I look at.
I remember the times when you get to 676
My
I
nearly,
worst, well, I think I had a 685 once, and I
and
was like,
you
well,
know,
I
I'll
I
be
can
back.
I can tell you this much, guys. I'll give you a good story for all those people out there who think I pass exams on first go, right? Went into my This wasn't a Microsoft exam. It was my CompTIA Security Plus exam.
I've heard
So
that's a tough one. I
went
haven't taken that
went
one.
went in and did my CompTIA Security Plus. I was in it quite a while. I was in it about an hour and 10 minutes, I think. Thought I did pretty well. I don't know what the score is. I can't remember what the score is on them. What is it, guys? Does anyone have it there?
I don't remember,
Um,
honestly.
okay, so whatever the score is, hold on a sec. I'm just going to check so I
Yeah,
can
you
have
check
this
that.
right.
Corey, you were saying at the start there about the soft skills.
Yeah,
Yeah. Myself and Ricardo, we done a kind of a course there that Dell ran, and they had a lot of the soft skills inside there, like emotional intelligence,
hmm
all that kind of stuff. It's very relevant today, like especially in IT, whereas somebody phones up and says, look, their environment is down and their customers can't get through, or, you know, you have to have some sort of empathy for them, you know.
Yeah, I think
So
Corey was already saying before, like, I think it's if it's not, it's one of the most sought out skills nowadays when you go to an interview. They throw all the questions at you, like, um, did you ever have this situation where someone didn't agree with you? How did you react? So they are testing your soft skills. They want to know all of that. And I'm pretty sure, like, if you have someone that has very experienced and loads of years in the field and all of that, but they fail at the soft skills, they probably are not going to get the role.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Nobody wants an individual that can't handle
I kind of
rejection or different opinions, etc., etc.
I kind of joke around. I mean, you guys have all seen the TV show The Big Bang Theory.
yeah,
Um, you've got certain people like Sheldon. He has his own TV show now. I mean, but you don't want 100 Sheldons working for you because they will all be behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz. You don't want to have that guy out there pitching to the client. You don't want him on a pre-sales call or a training workshop, things like that. So I will even run through people that I'm mentoring. I will run through like kind of role play with them and say, hey, I will be the pain in the butt customer, and I'm going to try and just trip you up or grill you, or I want to go over this statement of work and throw you a left hook and see how you handle it. Um, I would rather be people have taken time with me back in the day before I went to interviews, before I went into client workshops. I mean, you can never anticipate everything, but you have to know how to roll with something. You have to know how to roll with a problem or adapt on the fly. And that's an acquired skill. Very few people have that naturally. I told you guys the other day, if you had seen me 30 years ago, I was so shy, unassuming. I mean, I'm about as gregarious as it gets now, guys. I mean, you put me, I love talking to customers. I absolutely thrive for this thing. And back in the day, man, I had to learn all this stuff. I mean, one of my first jobs, I worked for the government. I was working on the military bases, doing different things back and forth. And here I am. I was 20 years old talking to lieutenants who had 20 years of experience. I mean, that's when you're 20, 21 years old, that's kind of not say threatening, intimidating is the right word. And it's just a matter of being exposed to it. And I want to help everybody who I'm working with get better at that kind of stuff. I mean, I may play a quiet customer one day. I may play a loud, obnoxious customer the next day with somebody else to really kind of catch them off guard.
yeah,
And you've got to be able to roll with those punches. It's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of those things.
exactly.
absolutely. I'm okay. So I was just checking there. So the Security Plus score is a total of 750 to pass that exam. So I've actually just brought up. I said I would bring this up all together. So the Security Plus exam is quite a normal and good exam in terms of it's an entry level exam into the world of IT security. Um, and what you call it, the exam is about 90 minutes. It focuses on what you call it, uh, all the security domains and stuff. So it's a 90-minute exam. It's scored on 750. So I remember taking that exam and I went into the exam. I was in there for about 70 minutes in total, thinking, yeah, lovely jubbly, I definitely passed that. I scored a 740 out of 750. So
Oh,
it
man.
just goes to show how you can really misinterpret a question or two or three or four or five that can really throw your exam. I do remember going back the next day, however, and scoring 865, I think it was. So, that was much better. But I I learned from my mistakes. It
Yeah.
was the first attempt in learning when I did the Security Plus exam, and it was tough. I will say that much. But for anyone starting out in security, it really does open the door to cybersecurity. It's not the answer in terms of you'll get a cybersecurity role out of it, but it does. And just while we're on that section, I think worth just for a minute bringing this up. CISA really does. CISA opens the door to security, and Corey will say this because CISA and CASP are used in the military. So it's if you want to become an IAS level 2, as far as I remember, you have to hold that kind of an exam.
Yep.
Um, but you should be aiming for that anyways. You
Yeah, you
know,
should.
you should be aiming, if you're going to do security, you should be aiming to have those kind of exams under your belt
Yeah,
after, like, I wouldn't give it any more than 4 years.
yeah,
You should know that stuff, and you should be able to talk you should be able to talk the lingo and understand, like, when you're sitting in that board meeting and you have your SISM person, you have your CISP, you've your Microsoft. When you have all these different engineers and solutions architects, you should be able to go like, don't agree with you there. That's not quite like what you said.
yeah,
And that's what makes IT so interesting. You can start kind of conversing with people in the proper language. And then, as Corey said and Ricardo, you have to learn how to replicate that language in something that's understandable to the likes of managers, sales teams, all that kind of stuff. Um, Directors of companies, that's really interesting. People
yeah,
people enjoy that, and you get job satisfaction out of that. I know I do, anyways.
yeah. Hey, Matt, I'm
Um,
sorry to cut you off. I actually have
yeah,
to run I'm still in the middle of my work day right now, so I have
no
to hop for
problem.
another call for work. But
That's fine.
I want to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Corey. We'll leave you off. Please join us on the next
Yeah,
session. All right.
I think
Will do.
we're going calling it a
we're
day at that
we're
anyway, aren't
so
we?
so we're actually, I think it's worth calling it a day anyways, guys.
I'll see
I
you later,
will I
guys.
just want to say two things. Corey, if you want to drop off, that's fine. I'll take you out there. Thanks a million for joining us. But
No
just
problem,
with
guys.
the three of us that's left, I'm gonna say a few announcements. Mind yourself, Corey.
Take care, all.
Take care.
Okay.
So I just want to say a few things. We are doing our Ricardo's going to be joining us hopefully on the 15th. He's going to be giving a bit of a presentation. Are you, Ricardo?
Yeah, I was saying in the beginning for those who missed, so I'll be talking about my journey as a self-taught developer, some of the um, tips and tricks that I picked along the line, and I'll be happy to share with you. And then maybe you can use some of them. It's just about sharing my story and some of the resources that I've been using, places where you can learn more about Azure and the cloud and soft skills and everything else. So it will be just based on my personal experience and my story, but I'm happy to share, and hopefully it will be something that other people can use for themselves. That's
That's
pretty much it.
that's brilliant, Ricardo.
Very
Thank you.
good. I'd say
Um,
it'll be a
yeah,
fairly kind of, there's a good few speakers on the
yeah.
15th, isn't there?
Yeah, so we are lucky. So we're going to have Ricardo, who is an MVP. He will be joining us. We will also have Kat Greenan. I think I'm saying her name right. Um, and we will also have Christian. We'll have Christian Vegra. So just to I suppose to kind of get that up there, and we can see it. I'll just bring that up so everyone can see. So the next event will be called Journey to the Cloud 3.0. We will have Ricardo, we'll have Christian Vergra, and we'll have Kat Greenan. Kat is an MVP. She's a Microsoft Solutions Specialist. Christian is an MCT, an MCSA, MCSE Azure expert. We'll have Ricardo. Ricardo is an MVP. He's on the call with us today, and he's going to tell us a bit about his story and his journey in IT. Obviously, we're going to have Frank Falvey, Joseph Barnett. I'm going to be hosting the event with Dan Ray on the 15th. This event will be about 2 hours long at least. It's Journey to Cloud 3.0. So what it is we're bringing in experts and MVPs in the Microsoft field, and they're going to give demos of what they do, of what Teams, Azure, cybersecurity. There's going to be demos at the next event. And that's what's going to make it interesting. All speakers on the next event are well known in the Microsoft community and well respected. So I do think it's going to be a really good event to join. Today was more about a kind of a roundtable talk on security and getting the word out about the SC100. Obviously, I just want to make one other announcement. I had the pleasure of speaking with Claire Smith, who is the head of the MVP program today. We had a good conversation. It was lovely. She's a lovely woman. She manages Ireland and the UK. Excuse me. She manages Ireland and the UK MVP program. So that was a pleasure to speak to her, and hopefully we'll be able to get Claire Smith on one of our sessions in the next month or 2 or 3. She's busy getting those nominations done and getting that sorted for all the engineers and Microsoft MVPs that were nominated over the last month or two. So hopefully we'll get her on it. Myself and Frank are hoping to do some sessions, some demos just with Azure, the two of us. We'll get that up on our YouTube channel and LinkedIn. I'm sure myself and Ricardo might do a Q&A and a kind of an interview style as to the kind of questions he gets asked on a daily basis. And Corey and myself will do a set of security demos as well. And myself and Dan will be back doing our Teams and Azure meetups as well. And everybody's welcome to join those. So we really have a fully packed 2 weeks. The next week coming up even is going to be fairly busy. I'm also going to be posting my first blog post about NTES, which is the new company I've joined. I'm a cybersecurity administrator for them. They're in Limerick. I'm going to be posting that on Focus IT. Don't forget to check out the Cybex books that I'm going to be putting up the reviews on shortly over the next week. They'll be up there, and I'm sure I'm going to try in a week or two. I'm going to try get up a review of the SC100 beta exam, assuming I can get it done in the next week or two. So I want to start off by thanking Frank, Corey, Ricardo for giving up their time and joining us today. And I just want to wish our viewers and our subscribers the very best in their certification journey. And to please join us on the 15th of April for our journey to the cloud 3.0. So I'm going to close off the session with everyone. Is everyone okay with that?
Very good. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
Perfect.
very good. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Ricardo and Frank, for joining us. Everyone, have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.